Welcome back, everyone. We're going to begin our questioning now of the 8 candidates vying for the 3 open races here for Cedar Falls City Council. And they'll be allowed 90-second opening remarks. They'll be coming up in just a moment. But let me introduce the candidates. And I did it a little bit differently so that I wouldn't be accused of slanting my comments one way or the other. I asked each of the candidates to email me a paragraph that they would like me to use to introduce themselves. You'll probably hear the same thing perhaps in their opening statements, but the words coming are from them, not from me. So I'm going to begin right here on the end. This is the 3 at-large candidates. Nick Tiber should be a familiar name to many, Nick says. He served on the council for 8 years, from 2010 to 2017. He joined the council with an outsider's chance and helped usher in a decade of growth and city advancement. He counts city reorganization, service innovation, transparency, new infrastructure, fiscal discipline, university connections, and economic growth as major council accomplishments. As an engineer, he is cursed with understanding numbers, logic, system performance. As a corporate development director, he has the burden of traveling around the world and working with much higher caliber people than himself. As a family man, he's blessed to raise 2 boys and to enjoy all that Cedar Falls has to offer. As a middle-aged man, he has accumulated enough knowledge and experience to be dangerous, but to also know better. That from Nick Tiber. Next is Dave Sayers, and Dave says he is a 3rd-generation Cedar Falls resident and local business owner. Dave says he has enjoyed serving his community by volunteering and now would like to serve you as your at-large city council member. That from Dave Sayers. Next is Nate Didier. I had to ask Nate to pronounce his name for me because I didn't want to mess it up. So Nate, thank you for the pronouncer. I really appreciate that. Nate Didier is running for at-large council seat. Nate moved to Cedar Falls back in 2000 to attend UNI. He graduated from UNI with a BA in History and Program Certificate in German Language Studies. He enlisted in the military and served in the Iowa National Guard as an infantryman deployed to both Kosovo and Afghanistan. Nate is currently a production supervisor at Omega Cabinets in Waterloo and owns his own small woodworking business. He is married to his wife, April. They are celebrating their 10th anniversary this month. They have 2 young children. That from Nate Didier. Also in the 4th Ward, Fred Perryman is an activist for individual rights that believes in a limited, responsible, and transparent government. Fred writes, with 15 years of management experience, he has learned to think outside the box to create effective and efficient solutions for everyday problems. Through his most recent employer, he has worked with organizations such as the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, the Humane Society, and the American Heart Foundation to help raise funds and awareness. Fred says he hopes to bring that experience and balance to the Cedar Falls City Council this November. That from candidate Fred Perryman. Also in the 4th Ward, a candidate for 4th Ward, Simon Harding, says he will always strive to listen to the citizens before representing them in council. Open communication, transparency, and strong willingness to learn, he says, are the core values of the Simon campaign. As a family man, he writes, he enjoys playing music regularly, meeting new people, continually learning, and is passionate about making Cedar Falls the best it can be. Simon Harding is a candidate you can rely on, he writes, to always listen to the citizens that he represents. Council Ward 4 candidate Simon Harding. Also in the 4th Ward, Tom Blanford is a current member of the Cedar Falls City Council in the 4th Ward. He's a graduate of UNI's Political Science Department and a 4th-generation Cedar Falls resident. After serving for 3 years on the city's Human Rights Commission, Tom was elected to the City Council in 2015. As the youngest person elected to the council, Tom has made it a priority to work with UNI, Hawkeye Community College, and the Cedar Falls Community School District to create new opportunities for students and young professionals. Tom writes he's proud of Cedar Falls and honored to have the opportunity to give back to our community. That from the 4th Ward candidate and current Councilman Tom Blanford. And our 2nd Ward, 2 candidates include current member of the board, Susan DeBure. She served 2nd Ward City Council member, being elected back in 2004. Susan and her husband, David DeBure, own and operate Color Glow International, which specializes in color and restoration in the aviation, marine, residential, commercial, and automotive markets. Susan has a Bachelor of Science in Criminology and began her professional career as an Iowa State Trooper stationed to Post 9 here in Cedar Falls. She has 2 sons who are proud Tiger graduates and 3 grandchildren who will be future Tigers and Panthers, she writes. So that is 2nd Ward Council candidate Susan DeBure. And finally, Ward 2 candidate Derek Rogers, born and raised in Cedar Falls. Derek says he is a local business owner and college graduate. said he never left the city he loves. Being a husband and father, one of the most important roles will be to ensure his children grow up in a safe community that provides them with opportunities for success. Derek Rogers writes he will promote safety, beginning with resolving the PSO system and ensuring the fire department has highly specialized, lower-cost firefighters. Rogers believes it is prudent and cost-effective to have police assist, but not replace firefighters. He also writes he will work hard to promote entrepreneurship by implementing innovative growth plans and work with downtown business owners and residents to ease parking congestion. These are just a few of the key issues Derek Rogers writes he will work with when elected as your Cedar Falls Ward 2 councilperson. That from Derek Rogers. So now let's head back to the other end of the table, and we'll begin our 90-second opening statements, and we'll begin with at-large candidate Nick Tiber. Nick?
All right, thank you, Ron. Thank you, NISG. Thank you, Activate Cedar Valley. Thank you, Women of Action, for putting on this great debate. It's really great to be back on the UNI campus. UNI forms the educational, cultural, and entertainment backbone of Cedar Falls. It keeps our city young, smart, and edgy. My first council run, I think I could count on UNI, and I think it's one of the reasons I won back in 2009, so let's do it again. Many of you know I stepped down from council about 2 years ago because I believe in leadership renewal. I believe in term limitations. And frankly, I was pretty proud of the accomplishments that we had made up to that point. We reorganized the city. We introduced innovative services. We invested in growth infrastructure. We rebuilt neighborhoods. We saved taxpayers a lot of money too, about $1.4 million a year. Today, Cedar Falls enjoys the 4th lowest city tax rate in the state. We have the lowest debt ratio in the state. Crime is down nearly 25% over the last decade. And our quality of life is the envy of all. So why run again? Simply put, I love my former service on city council. And I wouldn't have done it unless people encouraged me all over the city. That's the reason why I'm stepping up again. So I'm here tonight to appeal for your vote. I have a body of work going back 10 years. If you like Cedar Falls, and if you want to keep us pushing in this great direction, consider me. My name is Nick Tiber, and I hope to earn your vote on November 5th.
Dave Sayers, you're next.
Good evening, Cedar Falls. I'd like to thank the UNI students for putting on this forum, this debate tonight. My name is Dave Sayers. I'm here tonight because I want to represent you as your councilman at large. I love Cedar Falls. I've lived here my entire life. I'm 3rd generation. I met my wife, Lisa, at my very first day of kindergarten. And I always say that was my very best day, and she always says that was her very worst day. I'm running because I love this town, and I care about the people the most. With my promises to support separate fire and police departments and hold open office hours so people can come in and see me, and I also want to have town hall meetings. I want to represent the people and what they want. I don't feel that we're being represented by people who actually care about what we think. They talk about dollars and cents, but don't care what us, the tax-paying citizens, actually have in our hearts. I love volunteering. I love serving my community. I want to bring my experience as a businessman to the office to help Cedar Falls. Every candidate runs with an agenda. My agenda is I want to work for you, and I will listen. My name's Dave Sayers. I'm asking for your vote on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Nate Didier, your opening statement, 90 seconds.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. First and foremost, thank you all for sharing your time with us tonight. I am the newcomer. I'm the unknown, so it's been quite a learning opportunity for me. My name is Nate Didier, and I moved to Cedar Falls in 2000. As my little paragraph had stated, I did attend UNI, and I graduated with a degree in history and a program certificate in German language studies. I do love the Cedar Valley, and I've lived here both within Waterloo and Cedar Falls over the course of the last 19 years now. I worked at Target Distribution for 14 years. I helped open up both of those buildings there, along with centers in New York, Ohio, and Texas. I learned to lead out there as an on-the-floor team leader, and then as I continued to try to advance my career, I went to Omega Cabinets and have been out there for 2.5 years as a production supervisor. I also did serve in the military for 8 years. It's one of the most proud things that I've ever done in my life. With that, I did spend 2 deployments overseas, a year apiece, one for Kosovo, where I had the opportunity to see that country gain its independence from Serbia. The second was to Afghanistan from 2010 to 2011. During that deployment, I ran a small intelligence cell for our company in our province in eastern Afghanistan. And for me, that leadership opportunity was something extremely important. It taught me about duty, loyalty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. And it's the selfless service that I bring to the table. I am for separate police and firefighters. I think we need career firefighters. Thank you.
Nate, thank you very much. Let's move on now to Fred Perryman.
Hello, my name is Fred Perryman. I'd like to thank everybody for helping host this event, and it's for all appearing, for you to all coming to participate. I'd also like to issue another thank you, a special thank you. I can see that there are a lot of people out here supporting the firefighters. I'm sure there's some actual firefighters out here that I've met personally. I want to thank you. You have provided a service that I think is being overlooked, the value of that expertise. There is a degree of cross-training that can be beneficial, but replacing firefighters with the entire PSO model just to me feels like you have been forgotten. I had a whole speech planned, like what I was going to do. I'm not going to be as polished perhaps as other candidates that run. What you see is what you get. So when I was sitting over here listening to the candidates for mayor discuss, all I could keep thinking in the back of my head was, when I was out gathering signatures so that I could run for this office, I was going through my little spiel, you know, my little, hi, I'm running for a city council. I'd like to get on the ballot, you know, can I have your support just to be on that ballot? I was talking with a man, and we went through this whole deal. And at the end, he said, you know what, now that you've talked to me, I wanted to let you know that I actually am a former firefighter. I just resigned. He told me it was the greatest job he ever had. It's the greatest job ever. You get to help people and get paid for it. And that has stuck with me because you could see the frustration and pain. Thank you.
Fred Perryman, thank you very much. Let's move on to the second candidate in Ward 4, Simon Harding.
Hey, I'm Simon. I guess I'll start by saying thank you because everybody else has. 2.5 years ago, I moved here with my family for a job opportunity at a saxophone shop called Tenor Madness. If you don't know what it is, it's actually a pretty cool place, one of the best top 5 saxophone shops in the world. Before that, I played music. I'm an educator. I love music. I love listening. I love people. I love traveling. Tenor Madness is in Waterloo. So when we came and we visited here, and I said, you know, can I move here? Because of course my wife has to approve of it. She said, we can, but we have to live in Cedar Falls. And I said, why? She said, she loved it. She loved the people. She loved the schools. She loved everything about Cedar Falls. They have the best. They have CFU. They have the best internet. They have everything. So we have to live there. I said, all right, I love Cedar Falls too. So we moved here. Fast forward, I get into local politics. I start going to the meetings, getting passionate about this PSO issue because, you know, we have the best internet and we have the best utilities. Why not have the best firefighters and police too? And all of a sudden, I recognized a slightly bigger issue. The bigger issue is what I feel is a lack of transparency and accountability and willingness to have open communication. So I'm here. I'm asking for your vote on November 5th. I'm running on that platform. I will listen before I represent. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Simon Harding. Thank you very much. Move on to the third candidate in the 4th Ward, and that is Tom Blanford.
Good evening. My name is Tom Blanford. I would like to thank NISG, Cedar Valley Activate, and Women of Action for hosting tonight's events. These events are an important opportunity for residents to engage on local issues and learn more about their city. As the 4th generation of my family to live in Cedar Falls, I am proud of this community and all that we have accomplished together. From our award-winning downtown to our record-setting economic growth and our partnership with UNI, Cedar Falls is a vibrant and growing community. Over the past 4 years, we have worked together to lower the city's property tax rate, attract new businesses, provide opportunities for our students, and invested in the future of our community. I look forward to taking your questions tonight and sharing our vision for the future of Cedar Falls. Thank you.
Tom Blanford, thank you very much. Let's move on to the 2nd Ward candidates, and we'll begin with Susan DeBure.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here tonight, and it's certainly an honor to be your current Ward 2 City Council member. I did move here in 1983. I loved Cedar Falls and decided to stay and make it my home. I did run for City Council 16 years ago for several of the same reasons that I'm running for re-election today. First, I felt that the people needed a representative that put the people first and as a priority and that truly listened to the people. I feel that citizen participation should be a part of the governing process, and I've worked diligently to always listen and support the people of Ward 2. Second, I felt that the people needed a representative that uses common sense and makes their decisions based off of facts. Third, I have a strong belief in community service. My parents owned the Sioux City Gun Club, and they donated land to the Woodbury County Canine Corps for the purpose of training their police dogs. That's where I got my love for the law enforcement. I have a brother who's a fireman, a sister who's a nurse, and another sister who's a teacher, 2 sons that are Eagle Scouts, and my husband was a volunteer firefighter. Lastly, I ran and am continuing to run because I believe that the youth of our city are our most valuable asset, and they are the key to our future. My goal was and still is to make Cedar Falls a place for our youth to thrive so that they will want to make Cedar Falls a place to live and grow their own families and to prosper in the Cedar Valley. My commitment to you is to continue the progress and to remain loyal to these beliefs and to serve you to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Susan DeBuer. And our final candidate in Ward 2, Derek Rogers.
Thanks again for the invite tonight. My name is Derek Rogers for Ward 2. I would be honored to serve the people of Cedar Falls as an elected representative on our city council. Father of 2 daughters, born and raised in Cedar Falls. I've always said never left because I've never wanted to. Cedar Falls is a great place to live, grow, run a business. My main objective is to be a voice of many and to seek out the citizens of Cedar Falls for their input and feedback on policymaking and local issues. My goal is to be proactive, not reactive. When topics are on the table for discussion, I am making it my mission to seek public opinion before casting my vote. And just so it's clear, my main objective for running this evening is to resolve the PSO program. Obviously, it's the hot topic right now, and the last thing I ever really thought about doing a few years ago was being a politician. I want to be the voice of many. One of my good friends is a fire chief in Janesville, and when he talked about all the issues that were going on in the city, led me to want to run for this position and hear the citizens out and have the police assist, but not replace the fire department. Coming November 5th, I look forward to your vote.
All right, Derek Rogers, thank you very much. We'll continue with begin the questioning now. We'll continue with the PSO, obviously the key ingredient or one of the major issue of this campaign. So I want to begin with a question from the audience, but directed at the 2 current council members. Did your constituents, and then of course the rest of you will have a chance to answer more specifically about how you would vote. I think you've pretty much said that already, but did your constituents influence the way you voted on the PSO issue? Susan, do you want to begin? Okay.
Sure. Yes, they did. I've spoken to a lot of citizens throughout the years. This actually started 16 years ago or more, as far as talking about improvements to our fire and police safety. I've always listened to the public, and I think that's crucial that we do. The whole PSO program came about because we were asked by the fire department for ways to put more fire personnel to the scene. I do believe that this is best served by the PSO model. I do regret that there's been so much negative publicity put to this. We have some high-quality police officers, we have high-quality firefighters, and we have high-quality public safety officers. And yes, in answer to the question, I have listened to the public on this.
Tom Blanford, why don't you answer since you're also on the council too?
Sure. Thank you. I would agree with Susan, yes. Absolutely, the constituents of Ward 4 and the entire Cedar Falls residents influenced it. The idea came actually from a resident committee back in 2014. So the concept of cross-training and of supplemental forces came from citizens of Cedar Falls. I think it hits the tenets or the core tenets of being on council, which is using our residents' tax dollars effectively, ensuring their safety and security, both physically and economically, and I think this program does that. So absolutely, I think this program is in the best interest of the community.
All right, Derek Rogers, you mentioned the word resolve the PSO issue, so let's have you go next and explain exactly what you meant by that.
This is a very passionate topic for me, obviously. It's not the main reason that I'm running, but it's the #1 reason. I have a lot of friends in the fire department. I really want to see the police continue to assist but not replace the fire department, and if elected, I would I would bring back the fire department, get those highly trained and skilled professional fire department firefighters who are paid $45,000 a year as opposed to a PSO model, $58,000 a year. And just be open and honest with the public what's going on and really fight for the people who don't have a voice, because the firefighters really don't have a say in what's going on. They're not allowed to cross-train themselves. Be a police officer, that they're not allowed to do that, but vice versa, the police department can be a firefighter. So that's my main reason for running. And the other thing I want to point out too is there's more to being a firefighter than just putting out fires. You got hazmat, confined spaces, rope training, water rescue, rental inspections.
Oh,
We're out of
Derek, I'm
time.
sorry, you went over
Okay.
your limit there. Okay, let's go down the right, and so Simon, we'll have you go next, and we'll just go right down the line here.
All right. The PSO model has obviously survived in some cities. There's 131 of them roughly that use it. So it works some places, not in Cedar Falls. And the reason why is this. I believe that the council probably did have the best intentions when they voted it through, but it's continually morphed. What is it? What did they vote on? Okay, it was supplemental. It's just supplemental. It's a little cross-training to help with when we need extra. And now all of a sudden, fast forward a few years, we're replacing all the firefighters. It's all PSOs. This model, it has no foundation. They did not map out the model. They just changed it as they wanted to go, or at least that's what it seems like. If they did map out the model, then they didn't openly communicate that with the public well enough. So now you get people that are angry. We need to vote on November 5th to change that.
Fred Perryman, you're next.
Very similar comments to that. I struggle when I talk to people when we're asking, are we getting public input? Because the public input, everybody thought this was a different program than it's turning out to be. So, and then you have suggestions like, can we have a 5-year plan? And they say, we don't need to release that. We don't, So either you have the plan or you don't have the plan. And that's fine. If you have a plan and you believe in that plan, and that plan is to eventually replace all firefighters with PSOs, then that's what should have been brought up years ago. I know that they probably knew we couldn't get that passed that way. What we can do is say, okay, we're going to supplement and we're going to help. And that sounds great, and it is great, okay? Sometimes stuff happens, and you need more help in a different situation. I get it. But completely using that emotion, that thing that makes sense to us, and then trying to basically shove through a different plan.
Right time.
Thank you very much. Nate Didier.
Again, similar to kind of what Simon and Fred have said, the PSO model in its conceptuality is designed to be a supplement to a full-time fire staff. It has failed dramatically in several major cities such as Daytona Beach, Florida, Peoria, Illinois, and Durham, North Carolina. And in those cities, the major failure was the fact that they tried to replace the firefighters. One of the things early on that was put out is that the PSO officers' main duties are going to be the first on scene to arrive to the fire, get the lay of the land, block off roads, identify hydrants, stuff like that that's going to help that full-time fire staff save those precious minutes. The Cedar Falls Police Department was already doing that. When there's a fire call, the first to arrive were the police officers who immediately contacted or communicated with the arriving firefighters, and they were to attack that fire. That's the teamwork we already had, and right now we're paying 11% more to have that done.
Thank you. Dave Sayers, you're next.
I'm for 2 separate and strong departments. I love that we have a strong police department, but the citizens want a strong fire department also. I'm cross-trained to give you CPR and run the shock machine, but believe me, I'd rather have a doctor do it for you. I'm glad that the training is there, but we still need the firefighters to be firefighters. We need the police officers to be police officers. When I was a kid, we grew up with the police officers' kids, and we grew up with the firefighters' kids. And when there was a problem in Cedar Falls, everybody came together and made things happen. The police department always gets there first because they're in their cars. They ask the neighbors what's going on, or who's in the house, all those other things. then they can radio back to the fire department, just like they always did. But the one thing that really hits in my mind, we had a fire in the mobile home park, and they called me and they said, there's a fire in number 42. And I said, the very first thing I said were, are all the people out?
Dave, you're
And
out
they
of
said,
time.
yes. And I said, is
Dave.
the fire department there?
Dave.
They said, yes. And I said,
Dave.
everything's fine.
You're over time, thank you. Nick Tiber, you're next.
It's an emotionally charged issue, there's no question about it, but, you know, it's not a council member's job to determine staffing level numbers. I mean, you leave that to the professionals. The PSO model was designed to improve process and outcomes. Process and outcomes. The PSOs are a cross-trained force. They can do police duty and they can do fire duty. The model was originally conceived to put PSOs feet on the street. They're the higher paid employee class. That's exactly where they should be. They're the flexible force. They're the roaming force. And in the fire station, you had full-time professional firefighters. That's how the model was designed. There's something else happening here, though, folks. There's something else happening here. And if this model fails, it's not because of the original focus or the focus on process and outcome. It's a labor dispute. That's really what we have to focus on. You have Teamsters and you have the IAF. And right now, that's where the dispute is. And if it's not working, that is the reason. So what do I want to do? Interest-based negotiation. Let's bring the parties to the table and figure out what it takes to resolve this.
Nick, okay, thank you. Very good.
We have an audience question. Much of the citizen conversation regarding PSOs seems to focus on the assumption that citizens are less safe. Do you believe that, and why? We'll start at the end. Derek?
I do believe that the police officers haven't undergone the required training to become a firefighter. As we know firefighters to be highly skilled professional firefighters. And to my knowledge, talking to a past private investigator of the city of Cedar Falls, the police officers were really never meant to replace the firefighters. And they also, to my knowledge, they didn't actually pass the required training necessary to be a firefighter. And a lot of our first responders have like a first aid only certification. So I don't know if I would really want those people to be the first on scene. Obviously they're doing their job the best they can, but I'd rather have a firefighter be the first one there with the fire truck and having the appropriate staff to assess the situation.
Susan?
I believe in public safety, and I do believe that the public safety model does make us all very much safer. It seems that the opponents of the PSO have attempted to make you think that we're doing away with our fire department, and that's not true. We will always have a full-time fire department. They've also questioned the training. I can guarantee you that our public safety officers go through a very extensive training program. There's approximately 44 skills, 20-some tasks that they have to perform. I think last year they did over 11,000 hours of training. If I didn't believe in the program, I would not advocate for it. My sons and my 3 grandchildren live here, and I would not do anything that I did not think was in their best interest or your best interest.
All right, thank you.
I concur. I think the PSO program absolutely makes the city of Cedar Falls a safer place. The officers that we have are absolutely fully trained. They are trained to the exact same state certification that any firefighter in Iowa is trained to. It's not a standard that Cedar Falls created, it's a state standard. So they are absolutely trained both before they go on duty and they also receive ongoing training. It's not that they're certified and they never train again. They receive constant ongoing training to keep their skills up. You know, we also, I think it's important to realize the talent that we've recruited because of this program. We have new officers who are firefighters in larger communities or in other communities. We have people from the United States military. This program has allowed us to attract top talent, to keep the community safe, and to provide trained officers faster than we've ever been able to do so before. I share the sentiment that my wife lives here, my new niece Lily lives here. If there was even an ounce of evidence that this city was less safe, I guarantee you I would personally do everything possible to block this program. I do not believe that is the case.
Thank you. Simon Harding?
Top talent doesn't win championships. Teams win championships. And we lost roughly 200 plus years of experience in the firehouse in the last couple years. And that's a team. You can't replace that experience, okay? When my house is burning and my kids need pulled out, I want the team there. I want the dynasty that wins the championship every single time. It's my kids, okay? You get them out. You run with the team. The team knows what to do. They don't have to think. They live together. They train together. They breathe together. They eat together. Firefighting is in the blood. Police fighting is the same thing. I am not down on police officers at all. I want the best police, but I want the best teams. I want to win the championship. I don't want LeBron James running around by himself trying to pull my kids out of the fire. Sorry.
Thank you. Fred Perriman?
Again, when you're dealing with feelings, it's hard to actually put, like, how do you feel safe? How do you measure feeling safe? I understand that everybody has a different point of view. The people that are, that are supporting the PSO program, I don't think that they're evil people that are trying to make you unsafe. I don't. That's ridiculous. Of course, they wouldn't support something that they didn't believe would be safe enough for their kids. That doesn't mean that everybody agrees, though, okay? I would agree that you need to have specialization, okay? It doesn't matter in what field you're in. It applies to everything. You still want to have that team, but you need to have your specialization. There's a reason why you go to school to become a brain surgeon. Not every nurse is a brain surgeon, okay? You can be in the medical field, you can still help people, you can still, provide some services that overlap, that, it's an emergency situation, we need this, great. But when it comes down to, it's make or break time, you need that experience. And like was referenced before, 200 years of experience. Gone.
Thank you very much. Nate Didier?
First and foremost, to all of our PSOs, police officers, firefighters, it's not their decision. They're doing the job that they've been assigned to do. With that being said, though, I do feel that the security of the public and the safety of the public is in danger because at the core level, the firefighters are in danger. When that teamwork breaks down and when that management doesn't have their backs, it creates a very hostile time to work in an already very dangerous profession. So the difficulty is, like we've been saying, to build up that team, the training, but more importantly, the experience. You can't replace that with a new incoming firefighter. When I got home from overseas, several of my buddies tried to join the the fire department, and even though they had the firefighter one and stuff like that, they didn't have the experience that Cedar Falls wanted. That's why they would bring in firefighters that already had 10 years of full-time firefighting because they wanted the best to be on their team.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to Dave Sires.
I don't know what the actual safety numbers are. Are we safer with PSOs? Are we safer with the fire department? But I do know this. When I go to sleep at night and I know we have a fire department that's all professional, and I know they're going to show up in the middle of the night, and they're going to be glad to do their job, and they've been trained to do it, and they talk shop and sit around, and they talk about fireman stuff, I know that's the people I want coming to my house or my son's house to save my grandkids, and that's the end of the story. It doesn't make any difference. I'm so glad that officers want to get cross-trained, but I do want to have a professional fire department because I know it makes me feel better, and I want to have open dialogue so that the people of Cedar Falls can voice their opinion and tell the city administrators what exactly they want, and I'm sure that that's a professional firefighting team.
All right, thank you, Dave Sires. Nick Tiber?
If you look at the third-party agency that comes in, the ISO agency that rates our fire safety, that makes our fire safety rating, we are in the top 4% in the state, 96th percentile. That is unbelievable. We are safe, and it's not just because we have firefighters and PSOs, it's because we invest in fire hydrants and training. No firefighter on our fire force really builds the type of experience level that you might be led to believe. You have less than a one half of 1% chance of ever experiencing a major fire incident in this city, okay, while on duty. It's training. That's what we need to be evaluating. It's qualifications, it's certification, and that's what this program does. It assures that we have more trained professionals capable of responding to any incident type, fire or police incident. We are a safer city today because of the PSO program. It's allowed us to put more police officers on the street too, a net gain of 7. So when you look at public safety, you have to look at the slice of the pie. They're all competing for the same dollars,
Nick?
and it works.
Got to cut you off. Thank you.
Ron, may I? Can we have the 30 seconds?
You have a that's
Sure.
right. You can,
Thank you.
you can exercise that right, Tom. Thank you.
There's just a couple of things. I think, first of all, to use the analogy, we don't shut UNI's basketball team down when we lose a player. We bring in new talent, we have them work together, and we keep the team going. I think, based on the conversation here, we need to make it clear that it's not that we have the PSOs training in one room and the fire staff training in another room. They train together. These staff work together on a daily basis. They conduct ongoing training, whether it's water rescue, confined spaces. They work as a unit, and I think you see that when they respond to incidents.
Anybody else want to?
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, you have to replace teammates. That's how it works. But it's the experience that trains the teammates. You lose all the experience, and then who trains them? So we're losing all this experience. We have no one to train. There's no ladder to climb. You're chopping off the ladder. And then furthermore, I liked what candidate Green said about retention. We need to see what's the actual retention here. You need to do this thousands and thousands of times to make sure that you can do it without thinking innately.
Anybody else want to?
I'll jump in as well, too. So with the basketball analogy, you do bring in that new talent, but if that talent shows up and has to ask if they can take the shot, that's something the team doesn't want. There have been incidences where PSOs have arrived on scene, have not been in their gear, have asked what they need to do, where they need to go, and that puts the firemen in danger.
One quickly. Anybody
I have
else?
something.
I'm
I'd
going to
like to
move
say
on to this.
something,
And
please.
here's a question I'd like to ask that came. Actually, I just want to ask this myself. So, explain why you think the PSOs are not being trained properly if they're being trained by Cedar Falls firefighters.
Me first?
Go ahead, Tommy.
Okay. I have no doubt that they're being trained to firefighter level 1, okay? What I worry about more is not right now. It's the future. It's the retention of how they're going to retain their training. How long have they had to do this over and over again before they go in and are on staff? You know what I mean? And how can they work together with the other firefighters? So the training, I cannot comment on how high they train. I just know that it's firefighter 1. But I do know that for the future going forward, we've lost 14 firefighters. And if we lose the other 14 and then they're all replaced with PSOs, who's left to really train them? How long have they been there? What do we have? It's an issue that, again, it's a good idea, but we have no true plan. It keeps evolving. It keeps changing. It keeps doing all this. We need to sit down. We need to talk about it. We need to solve it. We need a foundational fire department, and we need a foundational police department.
We'll go down to the end with Derek Rogers.
I don't know if this actually answers the question exactly, but one thing I do know from having a friend who's a fire chief in Janesville is that when you become a firefighter, it's a lifelong decision. It's not a regular job where you have, high turnover and this and that. Like, once you're a firefighter, that's something you do your entire life. So to have that many people leave, there has to be something wrong, and we're not doing anything to fix the issue. Like, talk to them, find out what they want to do, and go from there. So that's I'm pretty passionate about, what they do for a living, and I want to keep them in Cedar Falls and, helping out, those PSOs, and they're doing the best job they can as well, and I want to see them thrive and do the best job they can as well with the help of the professionally skilled firefighters themselves. So.
Thank you very much. Susan DeVore, you're next.
I'd like to point out that our public safety officers are very well-trained individuals, both in police and fire. They have a very extensive training manual that they have to meet many skills. I would like to point out from an earlier question that the public safety model actually gives us approximately 2 more police officers every shift, and that on fire calls, we are seeing quite a few, maybe 15 I've heard, responding to calls, which is more than we've had in a long time.
Tom?
I think it's important to remember, too, that some of the officers that we have in this program are not new to the concept of public service or even to firefighting. I think of one of our new captains, Tim Smith, who came to the department with 15 years of firefighting experience, then joined the Cedar Falls Police Department and is now a captain of public safety. So when we talk about who's providing this training, it's people who are well-equipped, who are well-trained, and who know the job of firefighting that are providing those essential skills.
All right, Fred Perryman, you're next.
Again, it's not an issue of a minimum standard training. I get it. We're not intentionally, I don't believe that we are, again, or that the city council is try to develop a model where they're not getting trained at all. I don't think that's the case. I don't believe these are evil people. Again, we just disagree. I work at Blaine's, and I was, part of my training, I had to be certified on how to change a tire. So I spent a week in the shop, I changed tires, changed oil, changed that stuff. Great. I haven't been in that shop in like a year and a half, and I had to change a tire. Could I change a tire? Yes. But it took me like an hour and a half to change 4 tires when a mechanic that works there all the time does it in half an hour. Was the job done? Yes. Now, if we're going to say that, yes, I am certified to do that, and that's how a lot of these certification programs work. I get it. It's not a bad idea. It's just not practiced, not done daily. I remember how to do it, but I got to stop and think. Okay, got to make sure I do it just right this way. Okay, did I do that? Okay, got it. I got to stop back. Is that right? I think it was. I'm not sure. And you don't even have that full self-confidence that somebody else who goes, oh, in, out, done. Get somebody, get
Done,
somebody
that's
else.
right, Fred, thank you. I had to cut you off, sorry. Nate?
Before we get to the training, one of the most important parts is a physical standard. To my knowledge, that's been taken away, and as a former military, that physical standard is one of the most important things you have. Say I was 120 pounds, which I'm not even close to, but I need to assist one of my firefighter brothers that's 225. That's just body weight. That doesn't include your gear. That doesn't include 1 o'clock in the afternoon on July 6th. For 3 hours at a time. So removing that physical standard first and foremost is immediately putting them in a danger. Once that PSO does come on board and you get to that training aspect, they're going to go through the process. They're going to get their firefighter 1. But then they have the in-house manual. And how many times are they allowed to fail a particular task before they're removed from the program or need remedial training? Or is this where we just need to continue to push and push and push until they finally make the team?
Thank you. Dave Cyrus?
I do know that if I was going to rob a bank in Cedar Falls, I would probably set a fire first on the other side of town. But since I'm not going to do that, what it really boils down to is what does Cedar Falls want? I believe Cedar Falls wants a fire department and wants a strong police department. I think we can have town hall meetings. I want to host those. I think we can all get together and talk about all kinds of things. I believe in the citizens' input. So that's where this is going to be decided, on what the citizens say. I believe that we should have a strong fire department, and I believe we should have a strong police department.
Nick, you get the final word on this for right now.
This program relies on full-time firefighters, police officers, and PSOs. This is not a replacement program. Firefighters are essential. They need to be the trainers and the mentors to the PSOs. The PSOs are the ones that are out on the street. That's how this model is to work. And just a point, all the PSOs do go through the Cooper Agility Test, which is the same one that Chicago and Detroit firefighters go through, I believe. So just a correction there.
We've had several questions come in.
Can I do a 30-second interjection? Sorry.
Sure.
Listen, we can debate about the PSO model all the time. Could be good, could be bad. It's a heated debate, but it goes to a bigger issue. Why is the city not listening? Why is there firefighters leaving? Why does it seem like a toxic environment? And why does it feel like we've been pushed into this and we're pushed into, oh, it's not supplemental, it's full-time? We need open communication and transparency. We need to talk. We need to sit down. We need that, and that needs to come from the government down.
I thank you.
Is there anyone else that wants to rebuttal? We've had several questions come in about listening to constituents on different issues. Can you talk about day one, when you get on the council, what you will do for your, how your behavior will be with your constituents, how you will take their message to the council? Why don't we start here?
Okay. Well, my years of service was defined by citizen communication. I have a list of over 1,000 that I email prior to the meeting. You can go onto my website and look at histories of blogs. I try to bring the most important issues in front of the citizens as soon as possible, because that is the job of the council person. Transparency actually starts on council, because staff, they can put out all the currents and Channel 15 news, but it's up to the council member to connect with their constituency, and that's what I took the greatest amount of pride in.
Dave?
I have been the only one that commits to actual office hours, where I'll be in the office and people can come in and talk to me. Also, I'm the only one that said we need to have town hall meetings. I'm willing to have town hall meetings where people can come in and say whatever they'd like and talk about whatever they'd like. I think it'd be great. I think we need the back and forth. I think we need more involvement with the citizens and the council. I'll be available to talk to anybody, anywhere. They've always hidden behind ex parte. I'm willing to go anywhere and talk to the citizens because that's who I represent. And that's what I'll do on my first day.
Nate?
It's a really great question, and I think that's one of the frustrations that I've witnessed at council meetings for quite some time. To your point, Dave, the town hall meeting is something that's been discussed at our candidate meet and greet that Simon and Derek hosted a while back. That's one thing that we really wanted to push because the feeling was from the public that they are not being heard, and that goes down to that last 5-minute chance to speak in the public forum at every council meeting. My day one, I want to change that. I want to be able to give the public their 5 minutes and the city a chance to respond, and then an additional at least 2 minutes to have that back and forth conversation, because that's what the council is supposed to be about. We're supposed to be there for our residents. We're supposed to listen what they have to say and have an open dialogue with them, not let them speak to us and then they can take their seat.
Fred?
What I'd like to do on first day is start rebuilding some of these relationships. As we have an issue like this that has people that are so adamant one way or the other, sometimes it turns into a person doesn't like a person because they don't agree with something. Ultimately, come down to we have to end up working together. You want to make sure that you are having open dialogue with everyone on both sides of issues all the time. When it comes to listening to the voters, I want to do that. I do, because that's what I'm hearing and that's what I believe. That being said, I'm also a man of my word. So if I tell you I'm running on this platform and this is what I want to do and you vote for me for that, I'm not going to go, okay, well, somebody over here, now that I'm hearing this, so I'm going to change my mind. That breaks the trust that you have for me when you vote for me. So, but we have to still work together. We're a community. I have over 100 employees and I deal with thousands of customers a day. That's what I do. I talk to people every day. And that's what we need from our local officials as well. Being able to be out there, talking to people, getting input. That doesn't even always have to be a formal event.
Thank you. Simon?
Yeah, Nate brought it up. We've had a couple public forums, and I've promised all of the people in my ward, if I do win, that I would have ward meetings 3 to 4 times a year. That way, in an open area somewhere, maybe a local church, maybe we'll change it up every time. That way, and I'll get the word out as best I can. If I have to figure out a way to do a mailer, I'll cross that bridge. I will get the word out, and we'll have an open meeting 4 times a year, 3 or 4 times a year. I want to do 4, but just in case, maybe 3. But enough that you can come to me and talk to me. I don't have all the answers. I'll tell you that first. But I can take notes, I can take the information to the council, and I can find out who does have answers and how we can implement those answers. I can put you in touch with who you need to talk with. I really care about learning, and I care about open communication. So yes, we will have ward meetings, and I'll get the information to the correct person.
Thank you. Tom?
Thank you. I agree. Engaging with our residents is our most important job. That's why I am very committed to returning all of my emails, all of my phone calls, visiting citizens where they live, going out and answering their questions. As a city, we've had over 100 public meetings, public forums, neighborhood meetings. One of my personal passions since coming onto council was the budget. I really wanted to get residents more engaged on the public budget. I even used this year I tried to use Twitter to get out budget information and really get people engaged and interested in how that process works, because that's really where all of our decisions stem from. So I really think it is incredibly important. I think there are multiple mediums for residents to get involved, and will continue to be a focus of mine the next 4 years.
Thank you. Susan?
I encourage people to call me, whether it be my cell phone or my home phone, call me. That's my preferred method, is to talk directly to you. I will go meet with you. I do read all emails, but it doesn't matter if you're from Ward 2. I will help anyone in town. So if you have any kind of concern, it doesn't have to be a Ward 2 issue, contact me. If you see me out on the street or in the store, don't hesitate. Come up and let me know what you think.
Thank you. Derek?
Yeah, obviously my job isn't to have my own opinions about certain issues. I want to listen to both sides of everyone's situation, get your input, have feedback, and then ultimately like to make the best decision possible at the end. I I know there's been certain issues like around the city with new developments that we haven't even touched on tonight. If there's something that arises in your neighborhood and you're not happy about it, or it's something that's going to be developed, I'm going to be the first guy to let you know, be proactive, send out a mailer, go talk to you one-on-one. Takes an hour just to go to door over the weekend and talk to people. And being on city council, that's what it's all about. And I would be really honored to serve you guys and be out in the community and talking to everyone and as much as possible. So.
All right, thank you very much. Boy, time went by way too fast. So this is kind of a three-pronged question, but I'll try to wrap it up here. Some cities, like Iowa City, have declared a climate crisis already. So this question comes from the audience. What do you see as the main threats to the city of Cedar Falls and its citizens, especially our young people, posed by climate change, establishing a greener community, burning coal, getting rid of that? What actions and policies should the city of Cedar Falls adopt regarding these climate issues and threats? And let's begin. Nick, let's start with you on this end. We'll go down that way then, if that's okay.
I believe our city's actually made some really good headway without creating any kind of formal declaration. If you just look at saving money by spending less on fuel and energy, making your city services more efficient, you're actually doing something for the climate. CFU, which is a quasi-governmental entity, municipally owned utility, is a huge part of this. So trying to promote, appointing people to that board that promote green technologies and renewable energy, that's part of it. But certainly, there's a number of things that you can do from an ordinance perspective. Our city's current zoning is encouraging sprawl, enabling greater development, more dense development, doing things of that nature, allowing the city to develop in a more sustainable way. That's our greatest opportunity. It's actually modifying our zoning code to allow our city to grow a new way.
Dave Cyrus?
I'm not for having any more ordinances to regulate, but what would be nice on the infill idea and blends in with climate change, what we need to do is have a tax-free zone on the infill in the downtown area around Lincoln School, where if you bought a house, it would remain that price no matter what you did to it on the tax rolls for the entire time, and that's what would really help that infill and keep our town from sprawling out, which is one of the big problems of climate change and all those other things. We need to look at that specific need where we could have singular-based houses and not so many rentals, but have people happy down there and have it in a better environment, and then also help climate change at the same time.
All right, thank you. Nate?
I think Cedar Falls has actually done a really good job with trying to be a really green city, try to care about the environment and ensure that we're turning over our city to our future generations. One of the big things that concerns me is the flooding. We've seen some record number of floods, especially hitting North Cedar, and that concerns me. Those residents are concerned. They've worked hard to build their homes and their lives up in North Cedar, and they're continually getting hit by these 500-year floods a couple years apart. So I'd really like to take a vested interest in discovering what opportunities we have to help protect the residents of North Cedar. Again, a few have said the measured growth, that urban sprawl, we need to grow, we need to build, but we need to do it in such a way that we understand the changes that the giant parking lots and the land removal and the roads are doing to our community. So that's one of the big things. And then just encourage recycling. I think it's one of the biggest things that we can work on as a city, help get the school district involved.
Thank you very much. Fred?
Now, I've spoken on this issue before, not from a city perspective, but from the state perspective. And what I find is I believe more in innovation, not administration, okay? What I want is people to be able to encourage people to find new solutions for different energy problems, rather than trying to stick to some previous mold that you must do it this way and then go through this step and do that. That being said, there's more than just that affects our environment. Just recently, we've got like that water retention basin at Thunder Ridge that no one's taking care of. And it goes to court and it gets thrown out because the city engineer is the only one that can make the decision if the city's liable for it all at its own case. I've talked to city engineers from other places, and this kind of stuff just doesn't make sense because it wasn't planned out, like we didn't figure out what we were gonna do, and now nobody's taking care of it. Those, to me, are more issues that press us on an environmental level here, because we're gonna build another one of these at the new high school. So who's gonna take care of that? Is it gonna be planned the same way?
All right, Fred, thank you. Simon?
Being a teacher, I found out really quick what my strengths and weaknesses are, and I found out that when I don't know a lot about a subject, I should bring in an expert. So I bring in a lot of experts. And there's no reason why we couldn't start a committee here in Cedar Falls, even link it up with UNI, with some professors, and start a committee that investigates new ideas and green projects. Maybe we have some sort of initiative in the city that says, hey, present your ideas to us. What can we add to the city? What can we do that's fun, that will make it greener and help our carbon footprint? But at the very least, starting some sort of committee that people would want to be on, because I know there are people out there that want to be on this committee. And they're going to want to sit there and come up with these ideas, what's possible. So yeah, getting out of the administrative mindset and into the brainstorming, communicating mindset.
Thank you. Tom?
Thank you. I agree climate change presents an existential threat to residents of Cedar Falls. We already actually have developed a committee. We've partnered with UNI CEEE. We have a climate action committee in place in developing Cedar Falls' first climate plan. That'll be an extensive process. It'll involve public meetings, public input, but at the end of it, I think we will have a very active and engaging plan. We've already taken some of the first steps. The city of Cedar Falls made a substantial investment partnering with UNI in our first solar garden. I think that's a first step. It's a great step, and I think we're going to continue to build on that. Infill also will continue to be an issue. That's why we developed the rental conversion program, which allows people to get a forgivable loan through the city to convert a home in our older neighborhoods rather than looking to build a new home. And I think we already are well underway, and I look forward to what we accomplish in the next few years.
Thank you very much. Susan?
I think we will continue to work with Cedar Falls Utilities. As Tom mentioned, we did work with them with the solar gardens by providing the park out by Prairie Lakes. We also work with CFU regarding streetlights. We do have several different recycling centers or drop-off locations throughout the town, which we partnership with UNI and also with local businesses. I believe that most of our new buildings, our government buildings, we try to make sure that they're LEED certified. And it's, I guess, our government's, what we should do is try to encourage the residents to participate, especially in the recycling.
Thank you. Derek?
Yep, one of the things I haven't touched on tonight is my tagline. It's small man, big ideas. Got little 4-foot signs around town. And one of those things, I've been talking to a lot of business owners in town, and one thing I'm passionate about is solar panels. The solar gardens are a great addition to Cedar Falls. But I actually have a business owner that wants to start a solar-powered rental units around the city, which I can talk more about. And the other thing is increasing the walkability of Cedar Falls. We've done a great job with Main Street, creating a better environment, a better place to live and play. Obviously, the city isn't just about building structures and more roads. We have a great trail system, and I want to keep that going in the future.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to go over, it looks like, so we've kind of figured that anyway, but each of you will now have the opportunity. It's only going to be 60 seconds, so a 1-minute statement. And Derek, I'm going to start down. You're in this time, and we'll go this way. So Derek Rogers.
I would be really honored to serve you guys on city council. Obviously, you've heard my statements about the PSO program and how I feel about that. That's not the only thing that I stand for. I want to be very transparent with the citizens, letting them know about what's going on in the city ahead of time, be proactive about new developments, and also I've been talking to citizens in the community that want to see more parks, development in those areas, and I want to be very responsible with our general fund, have the citizens be able to voice where the money is actually spent, have input on whether or not we, build $11 million PSO building and where the placement of that building should go, the safest place for our citizens. I want to have more meetings just like Simon and Nate and the rest of the people here as far as getting out there, being more open, and just communicating with everybody in the community. So I'd really appreciate your vote on November 5th.
Thank you very much. Susan DeVore.
I asked the people to get out and vote on November 5th, and I asked for them to vote for me. I guarantee you that I am independent. I believe that the citizens' best interest is served with independent representation. I am financially responsible. I will promote public safety. My attendance will remain at 99%. At approximately 384 meetings that I've attended, I think I've missed 3. My decisions will be fact-based and always rely on common sense. I will promote new, diversified businesses. I embrace technology opportunities and recreational opportunities. And I promise that I will always listen to you and make youth a priority. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom Blanford.
Thank you. This campaign is about more than the next 4 years. It's about determining a vision for the future of our community. The success we see in Cedar Falls today is the result of long-term planning and strategic investment made by residents over the past 20 years. To continue this progress and prepare our community for the next 20 years, it's imperative that we work together and make the same kind of long-term investments. Our community is viewed as a model of efficiency, sound planning, and providing high-quality service of life to our residents. I want to thank our sponsors, our moderators, and all of the attendees this evening. I think this has been a great meeting. It's been an honor to serve the community of Cedar Falls over the past 4 years, and I look forward to working together to move Cedar Falls forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Simon Harding.
Yes, sir. Obviously, the PSO issue is a hot button, and everybody knows where I stand on that. But I think the bigger issue is the transparency, accountability, and willingness to openly communicate and have a positive relationship with the public. I can't get it, sorry, bro. Yeah, we need to step back, we need to slow down, and we need to talk with each other. And we need to enjoy Cedar Falls for what it is. We need to come together, and I ask you to vote for me on November 5th, because I will have the ward meetings, I will listen to you, and I will go and do my best to find answers and represent Ward 4 to the very best of my ability. Thanks.
Thank you. Fred Perryman.
As everyone here has pretty much made clear their particular stance on the PSO issue, I think it's obviously a very important issue. We've all talked about that. It's disappointing that we aren't able to talk about other things, though, and that's the frustrating thing about an issue that's this important is you don't get to have those other conversations. Because there's other things that, to me, in addition to working to establish, to keeping career firefighters, I also want to make sure that that your individual rights on a day-to-day basis are always being protected, okay? Sometimes it even is an issue out of feeling unsafe that government will overreach. They'll do it with the best of intentions, okay? You know, but I live on College Street, okay? I live right next to UNI. I don't feel scared at night because of a few things that happened. I get it, it's bad, but I don't want to be under 24-hour surveillance either, okay? That's, to me, is not the solution. It didn't prevent the crime, okay? There's other issues that has been talked about before in City Council, like decriminalization of cannabis.
Fred, sorry about that. 60 seconds. It goes by fast, doesn't it?
I know, right?
Nate Didier?
As one of the new kids on the block up here, I had no idea what an incredible learning opportunity this would be. I've met so many incredible people throughout Cedar Falls. I've been in places in Cedar Falls I've never been to or had no idea that they were there. Excuse me. What I want to do on council is be a role model for transparency and respect and dignity. I want to teach my children to support others, listen to others, stand up for others when they need it. That's something I haven't felt as I've been in meetings that has happened, and I want to change that. I want to change that culture. I want to be somebody that is approachable, that somebody with concerns can come to and feel comfortable talking and know that they've been heard. I do want to make our community safer, and I want to work together as a city to ensure that we are doing that as the voice for our residents.
Thank you. Dave Sires.
I want to thank the students and moderators for hosting. I'd like to thank all these candidates up here for taking their time and wanting to be part of our city's solutions. I'm a third generation in Cedar Falls. Third generation, I've run a business. My wife and I raised our children here, and I'm running for the Cedar Falls City Council because the city and its people are what I care about most, and I want to see more involvement and more representation in our local government. I'm Dave Sires, and I hope for your vote on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick Tiber.
Just imagine where we were in our city 10 years ago. Think about University Avenue. Think about State Street downtown. Think about the sewer backups that might be happening in your basement. You know, all these things have been improved tremendously. So I'm running on a record of getting things done. And then think about all the service innovations too. Remember when the recycling center wasn't open certain hours, or the compost center? We've expanded services without increasing costs. So this is what I promised to you, Cedar Falls. We're going to maximize services, minimize taxes. We're going to strengthen infrastructure to prepare for growth, and we're going to continue to promote sound policy for transparency, budgeting, real thoughtful cost-benefit analysis. This is what I'll do, and I hope to earn your vote on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. These are your 8 candidates for Cedar Falls City Council. So, I appreciate it.